What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm bringing you my wide receiver 13 through 24, or my wide receiver number 2s. Before we did my wide receiver 1, so that'll be in the description below, or the ding above. And without further ado, let's get right into it. There's a lot of names to cover. I guess we're going to go through 24. I'll give you some honorable mentions after that, some guys I thought about but didn't really put them in the list. So let's get right into it. So we led off at number 12 before with Allen Robinson, but moving on to number 13 is Courtland Sutton. And this might be, the Denver fan in me. This might be, I saw a lot of upside last year, and I really like the player. He's huge. He's a big dude, and, you can believe in Jerry Jeudy if you want. I don't really try to buy into rookie wide receivers. They're so hit or miss. We had the 2013 class where it was, I believe it was 2013, where Mike Evans, Odell Beckham, this historic class. And then we've had classes like, where there's Corey Coleman, and he didn't do anything, and Laquan Treadwell, he's barely even on a team anymore. All these receivers, and it's hit or miss. I don't really buy into the rookie receivers. And, with Courtland Sutton too, I just think he runs a lot of different routes for being big. He's not really just a streaky guy like where I think Devontae Parker is, kind of somebody like him, where he just runs the streak and he catches the jump ball. Courtland Sutton can do a lot. He put up good numbers with Joe Flacco, and the 24 wide receiver last year. So the very last wide receiver 2 finished the season with average of a 14.2 points per week, fantasy points in PPR leagues. So to be considered a wide receiver 2, the last wide receiver 2 for each individual week, you had to finish, on average. Each week's different, of course, but 14.2 is the number I'm looking at. And Courtland Sutton had 7 games over that with Joe Flacco, and I think 4 games with Drew Lock. So, my concern with Drew Lock is, or with Courtland Sutton, is if Drew Lock's going to be a good quarterback or not. I think that's the big deciding factor here. That's the big problem, is Drew Lock ready to step up? Because he's not going to be great if he only throws 18 to 20 touchdowns. He doesn't really make a fancy, relevant receiver doing that, especially with the weapons. I think the ball will be spread a lot, but I like Courtland Sutton a lot. I think Drew Lock's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be as hyped up as everyone is. I think Denver is going to be one of those teams that gets very hyped up over the offseason because of all the weapons, Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay's still a really good player. So I like Courtland Sutton at number 13. Number 14 is DJ Moore, and I really like DJ Moore after watching him. He's kind of the person that I feel like everyone's hyping up this offseason, and he's good. He's really good. I just don't think he's the big play threat that everyone thinks he is. He's going to be the PPR monster guy. That's just kind of what he, a lot like Michael Thomas, in my opinion. He reminds me a lot of him. He's going to be the short route machine. He runs 3. He runs the slant, the comeback, the 10 to 15 yard in route. That's what he runs. He doesn't really run the streaks. He doesn't run the deep posts. It's those 3 routes. The slant especially, he runs a ton of those. That could have been because of Kyle Allen, and who knows about this offense changing under Matt Rule as a new head coach, but I think he'll stay pretty much the same, and I don't see him changing the philosophy up too much, because why would they with Teddy Bridgewater? He's never been a downfield passer. Why would you make him one now? It just doesn't make sense. So, and Robbie Anderson doesn't really scare me. Of course, Robbie Anderson's going to catch to 3 to 4, streaks this year, but I like DJ Moore. I think he's a really good player, and he's going to be pretty safe. He's not going to have the huge weeks, but he's going to be safe consistently. And last year, he had 9 games over 14.2 fantasy points, and 9 games with 9 or more targets, 7 games with 7 or more receptions. So, and I think Teddy Bridgewater should be a better quarterback than Kyle Allen. I think pretty much anyone is. So I like DJ Moore a lot too. I think he's a really good player. Like I said, he's going to be a PPR machine. Number 15 for me, and this hurts to do, but it's Amari Cooper. People are hyping Amari Cooper up so high, and I just can't get behind it, man. He's a great receiver, great route runner. But scares the hell out of me. I will never draft this guy on my team. I wanted to put him lower, but the potential is just there. It's just so high with him. He has the upside. And, he's the definition of boomer bust. He had the 9 games of 14.2, which was great. But the bad games, last year, 1 game of 2 targets with 1 catch, played 3 snaps and was done for the day. 3 catches for 38 yards, only played 56% of the snaps. 2 targets for 0 catches, played 81%. 2 targets, 1 catch, 71%. 12 targets for 4 catches, 24 yards, 74% of the snaps. And I'm not even sure if that's including the one where he played against the Patriots and I think he didn't catch a pass. I don't worry a ton about Michael Gallup or CeeDee Lamb because Amari Cooper's great. He really is. But Amari Cooper just never put it all together. He has the potential to lead the league in receiving yards. He has it, but he can't put it all together. There's something missing. It's just, I don't know what it is. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it in Oakland. He can't do it here in Dallas. At least I don't think he can. He cannot put it all together. So that worries me. And I can't have the up and down games. I can't do it. And his whole career, I felt like he's a player who's been hurt, but hasn't missed games, but hurt his hammy. And then he's didn't practice, had one limited practice, then played, and then didn't do well. That's not what I want on my team. So I'm passing on Amari Cooper, but I see the upside. Like I said, I think he's a very talented player. He is a very talented player. Everyone will tell you that. I just worry that he's never going to be fully healthy and fully put together the great dominant season. Even if the stats look like it. Last year, you just saw those numbers. He probably finished as a top 10 wide receiver, but did you want him on your team? Outside of 2 big games, I think on Thanksgiving and a game against Green Bay, I don't want him. So, but let's move on to my number 16, which is another upside guy, JuJu SmithSchuster. Upside, baby. That's what I have for my first note. Upside. We had the 1,400-yard season and pushing double-digit touchdowns 2 years ago. Of course, no Antonio Brown. But last year, he was injured. He was injured, and Big Ben was gone with the elbow. There's nothing you can really do. If you think Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph are going to be your answers, they're not. Big Ben should be coming back. He does have Tommy John surgery, but I kind of compare that to an ACL. Do you really get... Yeah, you get worried with the ACL, but do majority of guys come back and they're healthy or pretty healthy? Yeah, they do. And I think Big Ben is going to be fine. Maybe he declines a little bit. Maybe his arm isn't all the way back. But I think Big Ben's good enough to get the ball to JuJu, his best receiver. And Deontay Johnson, another guy. I think he's good, but I don't think he's going to be the next JuJu. I don't think he's going to be the next Antonio Brown guy that can step up and get 1,000. I just don't see it. I really don't. And, last year, he was on pace for 56 catches, 736 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 5 games of 14.2, and I believe he missed 3 or 4 games. But he ended the season terrible, right? Weeks 9, 10, 11, missed games up till 16, 17. The weeks 9, 10, 11, 16, 17, his last 5 games, he had 24 targets, 12 receptions, 109 yards, and 0 touchdowns. He averaged 20 yards a game. And two receptions about. I just don't know what to make of his season. I don't think he's a bad player, but like I said, Big Ben should be coming back, and I don't worry about the Tommy John surgery. And honestly, too, this is a weird season for Pittsburgh because it's coming to an end. Pittsburgh is a great football team. Seems like this is it. This is Big Ben's kind of last hoorah, either this year, maybe next year. But this could be the last time we see JuJu in a Pittsburgh uniform, him and James Conner. If they both have bad seasons where they're injured and don't come out and, play well, we could be seeing a whole new Pittsburgh lineup in 2021. So this could be, this is a big kind of contract, or a big, prove it season for JuJu and James Conner. But I still like him. I still think he's a great player, great route runner. He moves back into a slot where I think he's a little bit better with Deontay Johnson and maybe Chase Claypool outside, or maybe Chase Claypool, rookie, will be at tight end. Who knows? But, we'll have to see. Number 17 for me is someone that is getting very overlooked is Brandon Cooks. I've been a big Brandon Cooks truther for the last couple of years. And, before last year, he had 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards and 5+ touchdowns. And he's had touchdowns seasons of 7 and 8 also in there. So the dude's good. He's another one that's a little up and down because he really is a streaker. He can do a lot more. I actually did a video on him a while ago about how I liked him for last year, and that didn't really work out. But I like Brandon Cooks. He leaves LA and heads to Houston. Immediately steps in. Who do you really want to trust? Will Fuller? I can't do it. Will Fuller has never been healthy. Kenny Stills is the definition of a streaker, and Randall Cobb can't stay healthy either and is a slot guy. So Brandon Cooks immediately plays the outside and has an immediate role where DeAndre Hopkins left 150 targets behind for a wide receiver 1, which is going to be Brandon Cooks. Deshaun Watson is a great all-around passer too. No one will deny that. He's kind of limited on the touchdowns, it seems, at only 26, is his cap for his career, but he throws a way better deep ball than Jared Goff ever dreams of throwing. Jared Goff's a terrible deep ball thrower. I don't think Jared Goff's really that great of a quarterback. I think he's good, but Deshaun Watson's a class above. And I mean, there's a good chance of getting 65 to 80 catches, 1,000 yards, 5 to 8 touchdowns at wide receiver 38 on Fantasy Pros and ESPN. So he's going as your 38th wide receiver off the board. He's finished as a wide receiver 1 4 seasons in a row before last year, or at least a wide receiver 2. I don't know. And the big thing for me is he's going behind Will Fuller. That makes no sense to me. Will Fuller can't even stay on the field. He's a big playmaker, but I can't trust it. So if you can get Brandon Cooks like later in your drafts, and he's going to step in and be your wide receiver 3, maybe even your flex guy, kudos to you, because that's a steal. And I think he's going to be another guy that gets kind of, oh man, he's very underlooked. So his draft stock might rise. I think it will, but I still don't think he's going to get the respect that he deserves. Moving on to my number 18, which is, I think, a surprise to most people, is DK Metcalf. Man, I love DK Metcalf. He was one of my buys for last year when after week 3 or 4. The dude's a monster. I mean, he has it all. He reminds me a lot of Des Bryant. He's big. He's 6'4", 230, fast, wins jump balls, punishes defenders after the catch. You know, I think he has a great chance to break out. I mean, last year he had 58 catches, 900 yards exactly, and 7 touchdowns. Why can't he do something better than that? 70 receptions, 1,000 to 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns is in the cards. Russell Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best. I mean, maybe Patrick Mahomes, but he's second then, you know. He has to share targets with Tyler Lockett, who's on, you know, another 1,000-yard receiver, which is tough because they're both going to get their throws. And they both kind of have up and down seasons. I mean, DK had some bad games, and so did Tyler Lockett, who we'll talk about later. And I don't think Seattle, I think they had to get rid of the whole run first offense. I mean, put the ball in Russell Wilson's hands. He's your quarterback. He's your guy. I mean, Chris Carson's good, but dude, let Wilson go. I think that's their best chance to win a Super Bowl, is that they let him go and really let him be a playmaker, because he is. So I really think DK is going to be a great receiver breakout. He's huge, man. He does so many great things, so many jump balls. He's a player, you watch the film, you don't see it in the stats, but you see it in the film, you just go, wow, he's next up. He's going to be one of those next up receivers who's going to take a big leap. Number 19 for me is going to be Robert Woods. You know, he's had consecutive 1,100-yard seasons. Brandon Cook leaves 72 targets behind. Would have been probably more if, you know, he wasn't, not that he was hurt, but they didn't really throw to Cooks. But, you know, the offense looks to be kind of on the downswing a little bit. I mean, they lost Cooks, lost Todd Gurley. The offensive line took a real big step back last year. You know, and I don't like using this as a reason why I like a guy, but the Rams could be playing behind a lot in 2020. I mean, that could really be a big thing for them. If they're playing from behind in 2020, I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball, and Robert Woods is going to be, you know, the main outside receiver. So the problem is a lack of touchdowns for Robert Woods. I mean, he's had 6 is his highest in his career. It was 2 years ago with the Rams, and I believe he had 1 season with Buffalo where he had 6 touchdowns. 6-2 the past 2 years with the Rams, so 8-2 seasons. That's not great. Where someone like Cooper Kupp, who I have at number 9 on the list, has had, I believe, 10-12, so he has 22 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. So it's not like they don't throw to receivers. You know, and I think Cooper Kupp is the go-to receiver in the red zone, and that's why I have Woods at 19 rather than have him, you know, up at the, you know, 10-12 range. But I still like Robert Woods as a player. Number 20 is Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's going to be a boomer bust guy this year. He's been like that kind of his whole career. He's like another Amari Cooper where, man, he just can't stay healthy. And it's always, he plays, but he misses a good amount of games actually. But, you know, he's another guy that's like, I'm a hammy, I don't know if I'm gonna play, and then he doesn't play, or he does play and he's not 100%. You know, and like last year in Minnesota, 7 games under 10 fantasy points. 10, that's not good, but 3 games over 20, including a 40-point performance. So you know he has the big play potential, and he's another good receiver. The talent's obvious, and my big concern is with Josh Allen. He's not an accurate passer. He's thrown 20 touchdowns, is his highest, I believe, in his career. It is. 20 is his highest in his career. And that needs to go up to probably 25-30 range at least if he's going to make, you know, if Allen's going to make Stephon Diggs and John Brown, who was pretty good last year, both fantasy relevant. Because, you know, and honestly, too, what's his name? Cole Beasley is still in the slot, and he demands a lot of touches. So, you know, that's another guy where you really have to watch out for. So I'm just saying there's a lot of options there and not a lot of yards to go around. So that's why I have him a little bit lower, because he's going to catch those deep bombs, but I still worry that there's not enough to go around. Moving up to 21, Tyler Lockett. Last season had 3 games with double-digit catches. I mean, he had 8 games with 4 or fewer catches though. So you had the big games and the bad games with him. It was kind of like DK Metcalf. You had these, less big plays in 2019 than the previous year. 3 catches over 40. In 2018, he had, what was that? 6 catches. So last year he had 3 catches. 2018 he had 6 catches, 3 TDs, over 40 yards on 40 less targets and 25 less catches in 2019. So he had more big plays in 2018. In 2019 he became more of a possession receiver, which is kind of weird because he's 5'10", $185 maybe. So he doesn't seem like the receiver to do it. That could be because DK Metcalf might have turned into the more downfield deep threat jump ball guy. But, and I'm worried that Wilson won't throw enough to make DK and Lockett both consistent options. That's why I have them a little bit lower too, because I really do like DK Metcalf, and I like Tyler Lockett too. Wilson finished 13th in pass attempts last year, but it was 20th in 2018. So what offense are we getting? I imagine we'll be more toward the 13 range, because they don't have Chris Carson can't stay healthy. He hasn't been healthy his whole career. Rashad Penny's probably not going to play much this year, I don't think, because tore ACL really late in the season. Carlos Hyde's not a very good running back. He just got signed there. I don't know if Marshawn Lynch ever comes back. He's not very good anyway now, but I worry that he won't be a great consistent weapon, but he's going to have his big games as well, because I think he'll go back more to less of the possession guy, more of the downfield receiver. And my number 22, this is a guy I really fell in love with watching his tape, is DJ Chark. I really like the player. His ability to win the jump balls, the back shoulders is great to see. He dominated these types of catches. He really did. And this is only his second year in the NFL. Good amount of targets at 118. That's 22nd best in the NFL, which is pretty good. And DJ Chark and AJ Brown are back-to-back in catch percentage at 61.9, which is bad. That's the one percentage where I worry, because it wasn't great. That's 139th in the NFL. So he wasn't even top 100 in catch percentage at basically 62%. It's not great. So, and like Chark, a lot of these guys, it's what you're looking for here. If you're looking for upside, you have it here with DJ Chark. But if you're looking for consistency, I don't know if Chark's the guy for you. Last year, he had big games. He had a 30.4, 36.4, 24.6. He had 8 games total over the magic number, the 14.2, which made him a wide receiver 2 or better in that week. So that's good. That's a really great week, really good number to have consistently, but his other weeks were kind of bad. And I like Gardner Minshew, but I like to see it again. Same thing with DJ Chark. They're both 1-year wonders where, it's different if you put up like 1,500 yards as a receiver and 10 touchdowns and you really dominate. And Chark didn't do that though. Chark had a little bit under 1,100 and I believe 8 touchdowns, which is good. But like I said, it'd be different if he put up a major season instead of a pretty good season. I also really like the player, and his ADP is going to be, after everyone else. He's after actually everyone else on this list other than Tyler Lockett and Brandon Cooks. So I'm willing to buy DJ Chark in like the 5th round or maybe 6th if that's where he falls to. I'm willing to take that bet because I really do like the player, and it's someone I really kind of fell in love with watching his film rather. And these last 2 guys, I'm just going to speed through them. Keenan Allen, man, I don't see the love at all. Great player, but I actually did a video on him. It'll be in the thing above or the description below, where I talked about I don't really see it with him. I really don't see it with him, and that's why I'm gonna keep this one a little bit short, because you just watch the video if you want. I love the player's talent. A top route runner in the league. Problem with Allen is his play style. He's a guy who needs a lot of volume to be fantasy relevant. It's obvious. He's not a touchdown maker. He's had 8 once, and in his last 3 seasons have been 6, 6, 6. So. Sound like Drake. But weeks 4 through 9 last year, he finished outside the top 30 receivers each individual week. So for 6 weeks, he killed you. He might have been your wide receiver 1 last year, or maybe a wide receiver 2 if you went wide receiver heavy. Killed you. Wasn't a good receiver last year for 4 or 5 weeks. So with Tyrod Taylor and rookie Justin Herbert at quarterback, I worry Allen won't get the volume needed to be a consistent fantasy option. How is he going to get it? Of course, there's been some good players, but with rookie quarterbacks, but there's been some pretty bad ones. I mean, 5 rookies last year, and only one of them, DJ Chark, was a top, 24 wide receiver. So if he's not getting you 85 to 100 catches, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns, he's going to be a tough player to own because there's not a lot of touchdown upside there with Keenan Allen. And I have him at 23 because I believe the player is still very, very good. I mean, I do. I think Keenan Allen's very good, but so I don't roll out a big season because it's possible. I mean, he could dominate and be so talented that he just defies the odds. That's what a lot of guys, they could be just so talented that they defy their situations. But I do have some big doubts. And number 24 is T.Y. Hilton. Another one of those good players, and we've seen him be a wide receiver 1 in 2016. He was number 5 or be a wide receiver 1. He was in 2016, he was number 5. In 2018, he was 14 while only playing 14 games. He would have finished 10th if he played all 16. Phillip Rivers looks to be kind of on his last legs as a quarterback, which, wasn't great last year, but he still didn't make Keenan Allen fantasy relevant. I mean, Keenan Allen finished 6th in PPR leagues last year. He will be an upgrade to Jacoby Brissett, who can't really, throw downfield much. Wasn't a very good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback in the NFL, but not a good fantasy quarterback. There's a difference. Jameis Winston, for instance. But Hilton has also been injured the last 2 seasons, missing 8 games, and he's hitting his age 31 season. So this could be kind of the downfall for him. The speedster's window could be closing here shortly. I mean, this could be his last hoorah. So I like T.Y. Hilton as a player, and we've seen him lead the league in receiving yards before. Can we do it with Phillip Rivers? I don't know. But he started off the season hot last year and then got injured, and then it just didn't come back to the same. So, but yeah, those are my wide receivers. The 2 other guys I kind of had were Terry McLaurin at 25 and Devontae Parker at 26. Those are 2 guys that I really liked for this list, but I didn't want to include them because Devontae Parker, I don't trust it. And if Tua comes in, who I wasn't a fan of coming out of college, I didn't really like him. I just don't think Devontae Parker is the match for him. And Terry McLaurin, I don't know if I trust Dwayne Haskins, and I know he's a good receiver, but he's a talented receiver, but I just don't know if I trust that offense enough yet. I mean, you have a lot of moving pieces there. Ron Rivera is the head coach now. It's just a lot of unknown, and I'm just not really willing to take the bet on it. But I still think if he broke out and became, a solid wide receiver 2 or somehow a wide receiver 1, I wouldn't completely be shocked. I would be like, okay, I'm okay with missing out on it. And same thing with Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker, after having, 4 bad seasons in the NFL and having this breakout last year, if he bounced back again and really proved it to us, then I'm okay with missing out on him this season. I'm okay with missing the boat on him. Where somebody like, for me, DJ Chark and DJ Moore, those are 2 players where if they bust out again, I'm going to be disappointed I didn't get them on my team because I really do like the players. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Let me know who you think I'm dead wrong on. I kind of like these rankings. I didn't really want to change anybody. Maybe DJ Chark would have been maybe a little bit higher up my list. He's someone where I'm kind of falling in love with him, and as I'm doing mock drafts, I go, would I really take him to Robert Woods? Something like that. It's a tough decision to make, and I really think it comes around to what your team looking like at the time. If you need the big play receiver, the big, threat, you need the guy to boom, that might be a DJ Chark. But if you need the steady guy who's going to get you, pushing 100 catches and steady yards, that's going to be more like a Robert Woods. So it all depends on team layout at your drafts. We still got plenty of time. I mean, it's June 15th right now as I'm recording this, so we got plenty of time to talk about it. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below who I missed, who you think is way too high, too low, and check out all the other videos. They'll be in the description below, or you can go to the channel and hit the playlist, and they'll all be in there. I've done videos on Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Keenan Allen I did a video on. I did rankings for almost every other position. I'm going to probably do tight ends and quarterbacks next. So once again, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time.